Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. As I was speaking about in my previous video, I was speaking about tat vitur varenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yo nah prachodayat mapo jyotirasो brahma bhurvasuvaro ekameva advitiyam brahma satyam jagat mithya brahmaiva jivo mahapara. Now, if you really see all of this, I always have one very critical question that comes into my mind, that the adaptive nature of the mind, which has consciousness, which is at a level of ultimate conscious level. If you really look at, it's time bound, and it's like now present, aware of the thoughts and having emotions and having those behavioral patterns of what you call both physical and mental sensations at emotional level, as well as at having that higher level of intelligence level. Now, this is where actually we as human beings, I as human being, try to align and restructure that intuitional schema of things. As I was talking about adaptive and maladaptive patterns of thoughts, why should I be talking about that right now? By the way, I'm going much advanced to the consciousness level. I'm going beyond. I was talking about consciousness, subconsciousness, semi-consciousness and semi-subconsciousness. Those are the 4 levels. That's the first level which I was talking about. And I am talking about that, auditory and imagery functions also in my previous video. Whole of the root lies in that only, ladies and gentlemen. As to how exactly you actually understand, how exactly you have understood those your emotions and the behavioral part as a whole. As I say, Natya Shastra is not only about the text for the classical dancers and classical musicians or whatever it is. As Natya Brahma or Natya Sutradhara, so-called Shiva, when they were having a conversation, striking a conversation, Prakriti or Parvati Devi was striking a conversation with Shiva or Purusha. He says this human existence as a whole is based on one thing, which more or less is talking about the consciousness which is ever pervading, and it can neither be destroyed nor created, but it is still existing. And here is where that godly existence of formed nature and formless nature of the godly existence starts happening. So, if we as human beings in this earthly existence are having that consciousness part, if that consciousness is lying in the human body, which is so-called soul, till that time this body will be there. The moment this consciousness kind of thing achieves that goal, this body goes off. And most of the scientists are really working on as to where exactly this body goes. Now, this is a direct question to the scientists who are working on the artificial intelligence from the neuropsychology point of view, or neuropsychosis point of view, or psychology point of view, or the psychiatric point of view, or psychosis point of view, is how are you as a research scholar or scientist going to answer this ever pervading question which is still not answered? Do you have any answers? And to what extent the artificial intelligence or the kind of research work that you are doing would be helpful for the mankind, considering the fact that consciousness is ever pervading and consciousness is neither created nor destroyed. That godly existence or godly element is there. But you would not be seeing that. You would not have form. It's only possible through yoga drashta, yoga drushya, yoga maya, yoga mahamaya. And yoga is engulfing all of these concepts. Yoga, or that intuitive mind which does the time travel, going through the space which is unlimited, ever pervading, and in precise, if you tell me the space is also ever expansive, it's expansive to the core, it is expanding every day. To this day, if NASA is sending space shuttles, it does not have that much capacity to send to that extraterrestrial life where the where one can go to that zenith point, that ultimate conscious state of mind, wherein ekameva advitiyam, ekam satyam bahuda vadanti, which Adi Shankaracharya has clearly told. Now, to understand whole of this concept, one needs to go through the rigorous training, or rigorous training of aligning and realigning the thought process or the brain process, both mentally, from mental point of view, from the emotion point of view, behavior point of view, and that problem solving aspect, and which is both private and public, which is having the qualities of both functional and dysfunctional thought process and the feelings. Understand this, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very hard concept. Consciousness is just not about one word. Its vastness is quite a lot. If I really want to get to the semi-consciousness state or semi-subconsciousness state, super semi-consciousness state, super semi-subconscious state, which is again the third layer part of the human existence or the human body as a whole when it does, which is what is clearly explained from the textual point of view in Natya Shastra by Natya Brahma or Natya Sutra Dhara. I do not want to get into the texts, those abhinaya part or angika, vachika or whatever it is. It is for the convenience of the individual dancer who is practicing dance, to explain them, they have actually like created those chapters. But real you know, the real purpose for Natya Shastra to be established by Natya Brahma or Natya Sutra Dhara is all about realigning the consciousness and re-engineering that conscious state of mind and maintaining that equilibrium state of emotions and that behavioral aspect of the human existence as a whole, from holistic point of view, ladies and gentlemen. And here is where actually, if you really think, we talk about like yourself, others and future. This is what is called cognitive triad. This is the cognitive thought process that starts happening. You, yourself, others and future. And this you, yourself, others, future is again based on the situation, thought. Situations, thoughts, feelings, which further goes to that physical symptoms to that behavioral part. And here is where actually, like again, if we go over and above this, it more or less talks about oneself or the yourself. Who am I? Why am I? Tat Vam Asi. Are you the one? It is again going back to that. So, whole of the concept of the consciousness nature as a whole, if you really see from the psychology point of view, psychiatry point of view, psychosis point of view, it is like, it gives that arbitrary inferences, that selective abstracted selective thought process in the abstract state of mind, which is more or less pervading in the human consciousness state at a conscious level and subconscious level. So to nurture this, right, when we nurture this part, then we will get to that semi-consciousness and semi-subconsciousness state. And there those thoughts will come into the form of imagery part. And once that image is created, then comes the auditory part, wherein it is the output of that. In auditory, what happens is, this comes out. This is like, happens in semi-subconscious state, super semi-subconscious state, and semi-conscious state. Now, this is what is the schema of things. Now, let's say like in the artificial intelligence, robotechnology or nanotechnology is evolving. How can this, what you call scientists or the research scholars in the respective fields of science answer this critical question? If they manipulate this, it is again like, violating the very basic rule of the earthly existence. It is going to be a disaster as a whole. Think about it, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very hard point. However, this is again a question to research scholars in the field of fine arts and culture. How many of the research scholars have really gone to understand the very aspect of whatever that I am talking in Natya Shastra, which was told by Natya Sutra Dhara or Natya Brahma, so-called Shiva or Prakriti? Are we really getting into the so-called characters of whatever characters that they play, these so-called artists, or these dancers? Let's say they play Rama. Let's say they play mythological character, Lord Rama, or Vishnu, or demon kings, Ravana, to name a few. Etc., etc. And how are they able to understand when you are empathizing and sympathizing that, and how are you trying to manipulate those emotions and that behavior aspect, which is more or less leading to the understanding of the consciousness state, ladies and gentlemen? I think, to my perception, there is a gap of understanding this. Think about it. Stay blessed. Have a real blissful life. May the Guru's grace be with you. Have a nice day.